Well, I had a fairly accelerated treatment, a newer, higher dose for a shorter period of time, so I went 5 weeks, Monday through Friday.
Coming up on Rick Dancer TV, Willamette Valley Cancer Institute brings in the latest technology to fight prostate cancer. You'll hear from a man who had the treatment. Smell that in the air? It's the mint harvest, and it creates an air of beauty and a fresh taste out in the country. Lockmead Farms harvests mint the green way. We'll show you. And find out how we got our hands on all that KEZI archive video. The U of O Special Collections and Archives Department talks about this wonderful gift from the Chambers family. Coming up next on Rick Dancer TV. I'm not dead. That sounds like something interesting. Technology changes so quickly it makes your head spin, and I for one am really glad that it does, because 20 years ago men with prostate cancer had very few options. Now we have many. The one that I chose was called Calypso radiation, but I had to go to Portland in order to be treated. Now, thanks to the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute, Calypso radiation is right here in Eugene, which saves so many men a lot of time and a lot of effort. We've met the man who was one of the first to be treated here at the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute. Here's Jim Westcott's story.
Okay, so ground shipping will be there Tuesday, and you don't need any extra insurance. At the office I work 12 hours a day, sometimes 6 days a week, but I'm never tired. Just don't have tired in me.
68-year-old Jim Westcott is an active, busy man.
Though I don't think of myself as old as my birthdays say I am, but I do like to work out and stay strong.
Jim stays in shape. He's precise and detailed, especially when it comes to his health and his cars.
I always have amazing looking cars, and inside and out, keep them really sharp.
When Jim's doctor diagnosed him with prostate cancer, Jim did what comes naturally. He researched many treatments.
I actually did not feel threatened. I did not feel it was going to end my life. So before I had gotten this diagnosis, I knew that cancer of the prostate was fairly well localized if you caught it fairly early.
Jim did his homework and picked a newer radiation treatment, Calypso, over surgery.
The surgery was the most devastating, and one of the more common alternatives to radiation. And the surgery has a great impact on your lifestyle. Takes you out of commission. I can't go to work anymore for a period of time. There's just a real drag on my lifestyle with the urinary problems. You could have sexual difficulties. I didn't want to go through that if I could avoid it.
Willamette Valley Cancer Institute in Eugene was the only treatment facility that offered Calypso right here in Jim's hometown.
And I met Dr. Fryfield in Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and came away feeling this is what we want to do. The Calypso is going to be our best treatment, safest treatment. It's close to home. It's a very, very precise way to treat prostate cancer, and it fit what I needed.
Calypso, called GPS for the body, precisely targets radiation treatments after 3 miniature radio beacons the size of rice grains are inserted into the prostate.
And it was put on a gown, lay on the table. So I just laid there, and then they fired this device up and it went around me twice. Machines whirred and made funny noises, which I got really used to after a few days. And we did that every day, and by 30 minutes after the treatment, I was back at work. As far as follow-up, that's the only thing I have scheduled. Do every 6 months or so, do a PSA, and just make sure it's still knocked down and not going to come back. I would definitely do this again in a second. The Calypso was so precise, such a painless way to go. My lifestyle was impacted 20 minutes a day for 25 days. That's it. Other than that, there was no impact on my lifestyle. So I find that pretty good compared to weeks and weeks of recovery, maybe a week in the hospital. It's glass, right? And then weeks and weeks of catheters and urinary problems, a lot of therapy on that. We'll see you soon. Be there Tuesday for you. Now, this was by far the best treatment I could find.
It's peppermint harvest time in the southern Willamette Valley. Around Lockmead Farms, you can almost taste the mint in the air. Local school bus drivers repurpose their talents behind the wheels of our trucks as the August harvest begins. In a good year, Lockmead Farms will grow and distill up to 72,000 pounds of peppermint oil. Nothing is wasted in the process. The mint is cut and chopped, then fed into huge trailers that act as giant cook ovens. When they get back to the distillery, the process begins. Giant boilers push steam into those ovens. The steam cooks the mint leaves and evaporates the oil. The steam moves out of the top of the oven, carrying the oil into a condenser, where it is turned back into liquid, water and oil. With a little patience, the oil separates from the water, floats to the top, where it is then skimmed off. The chopped plant is trucked back to the field as compost for next year's crop. You'll find that peppermint in Lockmead ice cream and quite possibly that toothpaste you use to brush your teeth. At Lockmead Farms, reuse, recycle, and repurpose is just the way we do business.
I see a lot of people with shoulder problems. Shoulder problems are really common. You know, you're a swimmer. Mm-hmm. You like to swim, so you're getting that overhead motion. When we talk about posture, even slight anterior rotation of your shoulder puts your shoulder joint in a compromised position. And for the shoulder to work properly, those rotator cuff muscles have to be working correctly. So the only way that they can do that is when your shoulder is actually in the position that it needs to be, and then the rotator cuff muscles can function properly. Sure, we can, use these muscles here need to get stronger. These middle shoulder blade muscles are some of the muscles that are very important in holding and maintaining your shoulder in the right neutral position. We can show you some really simple exercises that are going to target this without getting these other muscles going.
See, when you squeeze on that, I feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, it hurts.
Yeah.
We're here at Bertha Holt Elementary with the principal, Joyce Johnson, and here to show off, since you're at Bertha Holt, I've never even thought about this, but you then get lots of gifts, don't you?
We do. Because we're Bertha Holt, we get quite a few visitors throughout the year, and they always come bringing us really spectacular gifts.
And this is international stuff.
It is. We even have private citizens who live in countries where Holt has a big presence, and they just want to come and see the school because they've heard about the school, and they bring us just wonderful things, and we put it in our display case, and the kids just love taking a look at it. It's a lot of fun.
So tell me, Joyce, what are some things that parents and kids, the first month of school, is, it's always got to be a little bit rough, I think. So what's some advice from the principal on what parents and kids can do?
Well, the hardest thing is getting back to bedtime. And so I know that's hard in our house too. And over the summer, everybody kind of settles into different habits and staying up late and watching TV. And so really working to get your kids back on a schedule with a reasonable bedtime so that they can wake up and go to school on time. I think that's the hardest thing and the thing that really will help them the most when they get here.
What do you love about this? In the first week of school, it's like, yeah, it's hectic, and it's but the kids are back. That's why you're here.
It's so exciting. So we just have a really great time. We had hundreds of families today, and all of the kids were so excited to be here. They're all really excited to meet their new teachers, and they just are ready to hang out. It's just a really, really good time. And of course, I got all of the usual questions. When is my recess? What's on the lunch menu? And so it's just a really good time. We have a great time here with all the kids.
Gosh, I'm glad I'm not the only kid who wanted to know when the recess was and when my lunch was. Those are the things I was most concerned about.
That is still the #1 question from all. I got asked that quite a few times today. So.
Well, thanks for letting us hang out here today.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Thank you for coming.
Over 20 years ago, 1993, photographer Bill Getz, the guy behind the camera right there, and myself got to interview Grandma Holt. She was 90 at the time. She died at the age of 98. Her name's on this school, Bertha Holt Elementary, but she was more than a name. She's affected thousands and thousands of families because she cared so much about kids. So the last few weeks we split up the story that we did to show you different aspects of Grandma Holt. Tonight we're going to air the whole thing, all 10 minutes. Sit back, enjoy yourself. This is what history looks like with a heart.
KEZI-TV, Eugene.
She's 90 years old, a farmer's wife, a nurse, a college graduate, a jogger, the mother of 14, and the grandmother of 65,000. Yes, we did say she has 65,000 grandchildren. Her name is Bertha Holt, and this woman has changed the world for thousands and thousands of people.
Well, that's our wedding picture. We were married in Denver, Colorado.
What year?
1927.
When Bertha Holt talks about her life, she always starts with her husband, Harry.
And when he was courting me, we had an airplane ride, one of these barnstorming ones, and we paid by the pound.
Harry Holt was a Cresswell farmer, a logger, and a man who loved children. He and Bertha had a family of their own. They were in their 50s and thought 6 children was plenty. Until one day they saw pictures showing thousands of helpless orphans in war-torn Korea.
And he just pumped up all the courage he had, and he sat up real straight. I would like to go to Korea. Oh, I said, that's wonderful. And he looked rather surprised. And then he asked, how many do you think we could take care of? And that was when I didn't have the courage to say, oh, 8.
Harry went to Korea and brought back 8 orphans to add to their family. There was no turning back. The Holts knew their calling was to match up orphans in Korea with childless couples in the United States. Shortly afterwards, Harry was back in Korea building an orphanage. Bertha stayed home and cared for their 14 children. In those early days, dozens of adoptive parents would fly to Korea together on one airplane. Bertha says it thrilled Harry to see the children finally meet their new parents. But it grieved them that not every child found a home. Harry Holt dedicated his life to the children until he died in 1964. Bertha and a dedicated staff took over.
And I said, well, let's just try it for a year. And if we see that we can't, if the loyalty was all to Harry instead of to the adoption program, well, then we can quit. But then the Lord just kept it up, and it just got better and better. And so then eventually they saw that the Lord was going to bless it anyway.
We found in post-revolution Romania. Confined in cribs within state-run orphanages, thousands of children, victims of cruel policies in which Romanian authorities had allowed children to live in subhuman conditions.
And people kept calling and calling, saying, what you going to do about Romania?
When a crisis arises anywhere in the world and children are in need, Holt International Children's Services is one of the first agencies to arrive.
We have definitely come to the decision that we've got to do something, and we've got to do it now.
We didn't have enough money. We didn't have anything on our budget for Romania. Finally, we said, let's just go ahead. And then people began to donate. God took care of it. we had to have money. It costs a terrible amount of money to start in a new country.
Eventually, Holt found families to adopt these children. And the agency's work continues today in 15 countries all over the world. Bertha is the backbone, the inspiration, and the muscle behind it all. Even at 90, she still has a hand in the daily operation. They call her Grandma and give her the same respect. When she walks into the room, everyone stops what they're doing to hear what she has to say.
Good morning, hi, Grandma.
Welcome back. I went to India and I saw, so they've named that new building Bertha.
Did they? Yeah, all right.
Who'd ever think that?
When she's not at the office, Bertha Holt is traveling the world visiting her orphanages. This one is in Pune, India. She's never far from the children. On her most recent visit, as she's done countless times before, she brought a child home with her.
It's such a joy to come to escort you across the ocean, way, way from India.
This girl's new parents live in Fargo, North Dakota.
And one of these days, maybe I can see you again. You won't know me, but I will remember you.
It's hard to realize there was a time when some people couldn't accept the idea of foreign adoptions. Over the years, in her own quiet way, Bertha Holt has helped change those attitudes.
The older people who've been raised with that prejudice all their lives, they're not going to change. But sometimes the grandfather said, if you bring home a child like this, a child from another country, you don't ever bring him to my house. But after he comes, he gets so interested. Everybody says, oh, he's just beautiful, he's so intelligent, and he's charming. Then I get a picture of Grandpa holding the baby in his arms, just all covered with smiles.
That's what Bertha Holt's life is all about, changing people's outlook and changing children's lives.
We had their picture when they were in the orphanage, woe-begone and thin, and just looked hopeless, helpless. And their eyes just looked so sad. And then after they'd been in a home for 1 week, they were different people. They were just shining and so eager. Everything changed. They knew they were loved.
Bertha still keeps in touch with many of her 65,000 adoptees. Each summer, the agency sponsors picnics for the adopted children and their families. And Grandma attends when she's in the country.
I tell them, maybe I'm so old now, maybe I can't come back next year. And so then they all line up and have pictures taken with their family with me in it. And they always want to brag to me about their children. And they brag about their looks, about their scholastics, about their sports, and their music ability and their art. Oh my, I can't tell you how much they brag.
Bertha Holt has changed the world, and she's still working on it. But she doesn't take the credit. She says she's just a good listener.
God planned it. We didn't know anything about orphanages or orphans. We didn't know about international law. We didn't know about welfare of children, except that they're God's children and they should be cared for.
And we're here at Bertha Holt Elementary talking to Susan Cox, the Vice President of Policy and External Affairs at Holt International. What do you think it makes this such a special thing, what you guys do? And I mean, I have a niece, Kendall, who is a Holt baby, is what we call everybody, and we're, you know, so you've blessed our family, and look at all the other families. There's families here in this school right now.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Holt believed that children belonged in families. And obviously, if it could be a family in the country where they were born, or certainly with their birth family, that was the first choice. But the reality is, for thousands, tens of thousands of children, that's not a possibility. And they believed and they proved that love transcends nationality, race, country, culture. And so that's why those 40,000 children have been placed through Holt. And it's as complicated and as complex as all of the different things that happen between governments and countries, but it's also as simple as just the love of a parent and child.
So let's close with the future for Holt International and some of the things you're doing. What are the exciting things? Romania, you were in Romania for a while.
Right. Well, we have now really started working in Uganda, Ethiopia, Haiti. I mean, 60 years ago, it's almost 60 years ago since Holt was established, the needs of children in orphanages was tremendous, and sadly 60 years later the needs are as great. And even though we may be in different countries, those children and their needs are the same. And so We anticipate being around for a much longer time, and we're looking forward to the opportunity to help more children and families, and so grateful to the support that we get here in Eugene.
Is it kind of fun for you to walk around here? And I mean, just because I knew Grandma Holt, and you kind of walk in the doors and you think, we're here at the University of Oregon Archives to talk to Elizabeth Peterson about this new collection that they received from KEZI. And I got to show you something real quick. These books, these were the Bibles when I was back in the day at KEZI. We'd run into the back room and we would be going through these to find the video for stories that we'd put on the air. So, you know, in some ways, Elizabeth, what's fun for me is this is kind of like my life, and you guys have it, and it's safe. You know, I'll always be in the archives here. Tell me, first of all, how did you get this KEZI collection?
Scott Chambers from Chambers Communications. I believe he approached the Dean of the School of Journalism about gifting the collection to the university. And in the library, this is what we do. We take in primary source collections and organize them and make them accessible and preserve them forever. So fortunately, he talked to Dean Deb Carver, Dean of the Libraries, and through all these connections, brought the gift into the libraries. And so it will certainly be available to everybody, including the students and faculty in the School of Journalism. That's how the gift got to us.
So in terms of nationwide, local news content like this, historical records of local news, even though it's only 10 or 20 or 50 years old, we're losing them.
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually a very unique kind of collection. I mean, not just unique for the content because it's regional news and a medium-sized media market, but there are very few collections like this that still exist and that have this kind of chronological scope and are this intact. There's really, I know of fewer than 10 that still exist around the country. So the Chamber's doing that, this was pretty foresightful. Oh yes, especially since they've since sold the business. I'm so grateful that Scott Chambers and his siblings had the foresight to give us the rights to the material, which rarely happens at all, where the repository gets the copyright to the material, because it allows us to make this freely available to whoever needs it. We try to recoup our costs through use fees just for our staff time and transfer costs, but we don't have to then pay a rights holder in addition to that, or the user doesn't have to track down a rights holder. So yes, the vision that he had in ensuring the safety of this amazing legacy of his mother, Carolyn Chambers, and his family is such a benefit to the entire state and really to researchers everywhere, I like to think.
For the next 2 hours, you are a machine. You feel connected to the carbon fiber, the aluminum, and the steel of your bike. You feel like a machine as you slice through pavement, push through the air. This is why you get up in the morning. It's that rush of the wind and the speed, the sound of rubber on pavement. And when the ride is over, there is only one thing that can give back what you gave. Lockmead reduced fat or non-fat chocolate milk. Recovery. It doesn't get any better than this. Her name is Vicki Anderson. She likes to sew. She makes rugs for people. She vacationed in Spain. She would love to tell you about her trip and about her life. Vicki has a lot to offer. All you have to do is acknowledge her. To support this effort and learn more, go to lookmeintheeye.org. September is Look Me in the Eye Month, as proclaimed by local mayors and county officials, and it's a big deal for people. This is Amelia Abel, and she actually helped come up with the concept of Look Me in the Eye. So it's basically for what?
For awareness. No, it's more the month of for awareness for people with disabilities.
Okay. So do people not look you in the eye?
They don't.
Do you think, Amelia, it's because like as kids we're told not to stare at people that are different, and so then we're afraid when we see someone maybe that experiences Down syndrome like you do, or other disabilities, and we look at them and we're afraid to kind of just reach out, and where you want to connect with people.
I do.
You love people.
Yes, I even love kids.
So how does it feel when people look away from you because they see that you experience Down syndrome?
For me, I really think, like what you said, I feel like when they look at me, all they see what I have or what kind of disability I have. That won't be the same thing what maybe someone else could have, like autism.
So then they don't take the time to see who you really are.
Yes, not inside and out.
So they're judging you by the look out here rather than what's in your heart.
Yeah.
And that feels bad.
Yeah, that's what really kind of hurt me the most.
So look me in the eye is kind of an attempt for all of us maybe, just to look other people, because that could fit for anybody, huh?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Because if you're looking people in the eye, you don't know if they're African American or Latino, or you don't know if they're Christian or Jewish or whatever.
Yeah, I don't question anyone about the races, the colors. I mean,
yeah, but that's because you're pretty special.
I'm the type of person where I'm here to inspire, a story to teach people how to inspire people, or to teach them saying that everyone is not perfect in the world, and not everyone with disabilities could be like you. I mean,
and they don't want to be, and they don't need to be, do they?
No.
So the next time I'll challenge you. This is something you should all do. Don't you think people should, when you're walking by people on the street that you don't know, with people with disabilities, people without disabilities, people who are different than you, take a risk and look them in the eye, and then if you're really brave, you might just try saying hi.
Yeah, just being grateful, or just saying hi to anyone.
Because I'll tell you what, she's like one of the best people in the whole world, and not enough people know her because they won't take the time to look beyond what they think she is.
Yeah.
And that's not who she is. That's just part of what she experiences.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me be part of this whole thing too.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Rick.
I love you.
I love you too.
So amazing.
Yes.
So if you're in the market for a video, Rick Dancer Media Services, we create long format videos, shorter videos, YouTube videos, website videos. What we specialize in is telling your story, and we do it with heart, we do it with passion. Sometimes we do it and make it just a little wacky. It's whatever you want. But give us a call to find out more about our services and what we offer. My phone number is right here on the screen, 541-232-3143, or go to rickdancer.com or Rick Dancer TV.